And he goes, yeah. And he pauses and he's like, but it was also great to break 4 minutes for 1500 when I was younger. And that really resonated in terms of people think like, okay, breaking the 4 minutes was unbelievable, or winning All Irelands was unbelievable, but also was like, there is really the differentials on the buzz that someone gets breaking 20 minutes for the first time when they put a lot of effort in is no different than the buzz someone gets when they're going better. So I think people deserve it to themselves to put like, they nearly feel like they're not worthy. They can afford it, but they're like, oh, like a lactic test, for example, costs about 100 quid. And many people, oh no, that'll be for elite. It's like, you can afford 100 quid. Get it, and it'll make your training better. You can afford a coach. I get it. It's probably the only thing. If you're into running, you're probably not into going out or spending a lot of money on other things. It's like, do it. You will be buzzing when you break, when you run a PB, if it's running sub 23 minutes for 5K. You'll get the same buzz as lads get when they're breaking 14 minutes.
100%.
That's the beauty about running and all of these sports. And I suppose why the podcast is doing so well is because every pace has a place. And that's what it is for everyone. It's like, and that's what it is all about in terms of a marathon or in terms of a 5K. Like myself and Sean started out on the journey of, can we break 20 minutes? And that was the be all end all of and as soon as we did it, we swore we'd never go back ever again.
As soon as he did it.
But it is something for people. And we hear every week going, I'm not a runner. I was like, hold on, you've been running 4 days a week for the last 6 months. What do you mean you're not a runner? Or
100%.
I have imposter syndrome. I've trained for 16 weeks for a marathon. I was like 1% of the world have completed a marathon. You are something, you are a runner. You've given commitment to something, the same as someone going playing football with their team. They're a footballer. They play football, they play hurling, they play rugby. You're a runner. And like that, they get in coaches, they get in nutrition talks, but because they're part of a club or a GAA, normal. And we can treat our young athletes that way. And because it's an individual sport, you probably feel like, well, I shouldn't. And part of what we talked about before getting you on was me going to treat myself to an NCT with a physio and a therapist and saying, I know I'm carrying issues and I've avoided them, but I want to do this right. And I spent money on me being able to run and cycle and swim. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think people need to, if they're going to be looking at these things, take it serious for themselves.
That's exactly, Eric, you said that so well, like that, like, and getting that treatment and doing things correctly for yourself. And it's just a thing of like, oh, well, that wouldn't apply to me. It's like I said, if you're training 4 times a week, yes, it does apply to you. Think of like a club GA team that you'd be like, oh yeah, they're serious. They're training 3 times a week, a lot of them.
Go ahead, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then that's the bit that when people say to me, I'm not a runner, I'm like, you're more impressive than the likes of me, or you taking on your first 10K is far more impressive than someone doing their 10th. And that motivation and to get into something and
I won't go that far now. Come on, they could be. I'm not having that. Put effort in. If you're breaking 60 minutes for 10K, I'm for you, but you're not doing better than I'm doing. I'm not going to lie to people here, Eric. Like,
I know. To be fair, when people,
I know. Look, but it is a big step. Yeah, it is a big step.
When they take on,
I'm only having the crack there.
When they take on an individual sport, it's impressive, to take that first step. But if they stagnate, it's no longer impressive. It should always be okay, you've tried it, you've sampled it, what next? And that's the beauty about running. It's always what's next, and I'd say it's probably a little bit frustrating for you when you go sub 4 minutes. Well, for the mile,
there is a bit of that, there is a bit of that. Like, even now, it's like I did that, and then it's like I said, I go up the distances, and then it was like, breaking 14 was like I broke 8 minutes for 3K and then 14 for 5K, and that was a big one. I didn't know if I'd do that, and then I broke 30 for 10K, and there is a little bit of like, okay, what do you do now? But and I'm actually still in that kind of, like, I'm still enjoying the running with the guys and stuff like that.